you have both seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You had to remind me.
And I want both of your reviews.
Oh boy.
Go first, Culture.
Well, none of the characters. Okay, so if you're into classic Turtles, if you like the originals, if you love the cartoons, back in the day when I was young or younger, these characters are nothing like those. So don't even pretend to hope. They're not even close. Don't get your hopes up. Don't have an expectation of something that is familiar to you, because you will be sad. The appearance of these characters was similar maybe to what you remember, but at the same time, because of the terrible animation quality and the style that it was done in, also don't expect anything beautiful, because there certainly isn't any of that. The music was about 50-50. I would have expected a home run in that department. There were a lot of things that were married to different action scenes that totally didn't belong. And if you think that you should take kids to see this film, you couldn't be more wrong. The film itself is thankfully very short, only 99 minutes. And you can leave before the credits start to roll and probably not miss anything. In fact, technically, if you didn't show up, you wouldn't miss much. And if you want to wait for something to see on streaming, I might skip it on streaming too. Overall, it wasn't the most offensive thing that I have seen. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best, but it certainly wasn't worth seeing. And even with that, I still give it a higher rating than Tom. Well, I think probably that bothered me the most wasn't the fact that you had a race swapped April O'Neil, which I could care less about. It was the fact that every single character was completely mistreated from their original creation. And aside from that, I think you'll have a more enlightening review from our good friend Tom Connors, who basically is a mutant Ninja Turtle.
God, Tom, suck it up. I mean, what?
Where do I start with this? Okay. I guess I can start by saying that this makes the Bayformer movies look a little better, maybe, in comparison, but not much. The Ninja Turtles are the Ninja Turtles in name only and somewhat appearance. Outside of that, like Culture was saying, their characterizations are pretty much non-existent. They are the most incompetent Ninja Turtles I've ever seen in my life. They accidentally kick ass usually. They never show any real sign of true control over their ninja skills or anything like that. Splinter learned from a videotape. He's no longer Hamato Yoshi. Like, all the backstory has been completely erased. The Turtles main
video game.
Or a movie, sorry, not a video game.
Wow.
But yeah, like the Turtles, they barely have personalities. All the mutants have been either gender swapped or changed as far as what their origins were. The story is pretty much the same story as the 2007 movie, only just instead of some ancient god, it's Baxter Stockman who made all these mutants, and they're planning on turning everybody into mutants, pretty much like the other Ninja Turtle movies, and yeah, because they want to get the Turtles' blood for it. No, it's crazy. It is such a sad, annoying movie. Like, it is nonstop barraging you with constant, just like bah! Is what it felt like. It felt like it was written by a 12-year-old on ADHD.
I mean,
Seth
it basically was, wasn't it? Seth
yeah, kind of. I mean, Seth let all the teenagers who are doing the voices improvise and do their parts together, so they're literally just talking over each other through the whole movie. Like, at no point do they really have any real character moments. The closest you get to a character moment is when Splinter is trying to connect with the boys, and they treat him like shit. And he is really a joke compared to what he should be. There's no connection with Shredder. Shredder's not even mentioned in this movie. I mean, I guess you can stay tuned for an end credit scene that sets up the TV show and the sequel that nobody's going to really care about, I'm sure. But on top of it all, the animation is just harsh to watch. And I basically,
jarring.
Yeah, and I basically summed it up as this movie is what our parents thought the Ninja Turtles were when they first heard about them. You know, when they hear the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what is that?
Right.
You know,
It
like that's
delineated it to its simplistic form, basically.
exactly, and that's kind of what this is in its best, or at its best, I guess is what I can say. I know there's going to be some turtle fans who are just going to have cognitive dissonance with it, just like they did the Bay films, and just be like, whatever, I don't care as long as we're getting Ninja Turtles. But ever since Nickelodeon has bought them, they've been diminishing returns. They've been doing nothing but destroy the franchise. And as much as I love Eastman and Laird, Eastman, after he blew all his money, has been fortunate enough to work with the franchise ever since Nickelodeon has bought it. But he was the one who's always into more of the fantasy weird shit, as opposed to Laird, who is always more into the more grounded stuff. And Laird is kind of off doing his own thing. So Eastman is the only one who's really kind of overseeing any of this stuff, if he does have any say over anything.
Yeah.
And it's poor. It's another sad excuse to refurbish the franchise because and this is what I was told. Since Rise of TMNT failed, they had to fulfill licenses. So that's the only reason they announced all this crap. It's not because they're trying to generate interest for this movie. It's already done deal. They have to do it so they can fulfill licenses for, like, I'm sure Playmates and all these other companies that have had Ninja Turtle licenses for the last 40 years. So, yeah.
Wow. So you wouldn't recommend it then?
No, and at first I said at least, if anything, maybe 5-6-year-olds would find it not as, or at least somewhat entertaining. But Culture's right. The more I think about it, the more I learn about things in the film. It's less and less for kids. I agree. Especially now that we kind of cracked the code that they made Splinter gay on top of it all. Not to get into spoilers, but there's a character that he literally makes out with and gets with in the movie that Paramount themselves is claiming is a guy, even though in the movie they kind of allude to it being a gender swapped character, but it's kind of ambiguous in that sense. But they must have just tried to edit around it, I guess, as best they could. I don't know. I don't know,
man.
It is not very good though. I cannot recommend. And in fact, I said the worst thing this movie ever did was we have a Paul Rudd role that was not funny at all. In fact, it was one of the worst roles in the whole movie. I don't know if you agree,
Really?
Culture, but yeah, he plays Mondo Gecko, and his whole thing is just brah, brah, brah.
Yeah,
brah.
I did not like
that. Is a waste.
It was a constant. It was the lowest common denominator of comedy with that bit, because it's called doubling down on your joke, and they did that way too often. It was far too repetitive, and
every joke was yeah.
Well, gosh, that's the thing I didn't mention.
We didn't even get into April or anything else. Yeah,
no. Yeah, if you didn't actually know the origin story of the Turtles, you're going to get to hear it 3 times in the film.
But it's not even the real origin story. It's just the compromised version. But
yeah.
So they reiterated it 3 times.
3 times.
Because first of all, Splinter tells the story as a punishment, which makes no sense. It's like, why are you wasting time telling the Turtles their own story?
Well, because
which makes no sense.
Exposition for the audience, you know that.
But they could have just saved it for later when they're talking, because they do reiterate it again for April.
Yeah.
And then we also get another version of it from the other side, from the Superfly's point of view.
That's so bizarre. What a waste
it is.
Of time.
But what it allowed them to do is not be creative at all. So they got to spend a good part of 25 minutes telling you the story 3 times.
No, really, there's like, 10, 15 minutes worth of story in this movie, and it's filled out to 99 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah.
Wow.
That's also true.
It's really a basic story. I mean, the Turtles have a pretty set line, and it just, things happen to kind of just slow the story down throughout, really. Like, it's like a 20-minute episode story at best.
Jesus. So you won't be watching the sequel then, I guess, Tom?
No, just like the Rise of TMNT. What's my personal score? I'd give it like a 3 out of 10. I actually said Barbie was a better movie.
Culture, what's your score at?
Yeah.
What did you say, Tom?
You heard me.
I think mine went down. It did. I think it's sitting at about.
You started at 5, yeah. So
wow, he's sitting at a 4 out of 10 right now.
And I think he was just giving it credit for being like projected in focus.
Yeah, well, dude, I had free air conditioning. It was comfortable. I was in my favorite theater, so I had these big cushy recliner chairs.
Like, I got to keep reminding him, quit giving the theater ratings. Rate the movie, dude.
Yeah, what are you doing? I don't rate the popcorn when I'm eating the bloody, when I'm watching a movie.
I actually do rate the popcorn, but I don't rate it with the film.
Right. Whatever. So, yeah, okay. So terrible movie, basically, all round. Not worth watching.
It's not worth the 11, 15, 20 bucks, whatever it costs for you to go. I mean,
Yeah.
And if I didn't have the opportunity to see this film super crazy early at a great location, I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have did it.
I wouldn't have did it.
I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have done it.
What are the projections for this movie, Culture? I haven't even seen it.
$6.
$6.
No, it's not good. I think they updated them. Let me double check. Let me grab it.
Well, doesn't look like you guys should go and watch that movie by the looks of it. Good to get a review from you guys for that.